What really goes in Tubby Custurd? My name is Jason, and this is a story of how I found out a horrible, horrible truth of what really goes in what we call Tubby Custurd. One day, I was walking home with two of my friends, which I will not name at the time. We were crazy about scary stuff, and we loved Teletubbies. We always passed this old abandoned building on our way home. It used to be an old TV station where a show called Teletubbies was broadcasted, but they shut it down for some reason. This one particular day, we all wanted to explore the TV station to see if we can find some old props or stuff lying around that we could take home with us. But our parents keep constantly telling us not to go there. Sometimes we would try to sneak to it, but our parents would catch us. So we had a plan to try to sneak out to go visit the abandoned building. As I pack my flashlight and camera, my dad comes in saying, "So you excited about this sleepover, bud?" I reply with an excited yes. We all told our parents if we can have some kind of sleepover at John's place, since his house is the closest to the station. Okay, remember, just don't go to the factory. Something did happen there, something horrible. And I don't want you boys getting hurt or going there. Okay, Dad, we won't, I said. Okay, then, have fun. Thanks, Dad, I will. As I walk over to my friend's house, I saw one of my other friends looking out from John's window. But I knocked on the door and John opened it. I was very curious. Who was that up in his room? But I shrugged it off and I thought it was one of my friends. As I talked to him about it, he said that our friend isn't even here yet. So that brought up something else in my mind about what my dad said. Something horrible happened there. As I told him about it, he willingly went upstairs with me to go check it out to see who was in his room. As we do, we slowly open the door. But, to our surprise, nothing was there. So as we wait for our other friend, Jack, we felt something strange, like as if something was watching us. But we shrugged it off. So, as everyone got to the house, we planned on what we were going to do and how we were going to get to the factory. As John explains the plan, I sit there and wonder about what my dad said. Something terrible happened there. I keep thinking about it. I don't know why. Maybe fear, maybe of what and who was in John's room. I'll never know. As we start to sneak out, we get jumped by John's brother, scaring us, almost to the point where we scream. As we hit him and tell him knock it off, he sits there laughing quietly. John said, "What are you doing? You scared us so badly. You could have woken Mom and Dad up." As he stands there, sitting there, looking at us, he says, "Well, what are you guys doing up so late?" "None of your business," says John. "Well, it'd be a shame if Mom and Dad found out what you guys were trying to do." "Oh, come on. We were just trying to do something that we've wanted to do for a long time, which is guess we have no choice but to tell him. We were gonna plan to go to the factory. Wow. Imagine if Mom and Dad heard about this. Come on, don't tell them. What do you want? What do you want so you can't tell anyone where we're going? All I want is to go with you. Mom and Dad won't let me go, nor will they let you guys go. So, I want to go. Fine, you can go with us, but you have to have a flashlight. As my brother runs to his room to grab a flashlight, we sit there wondering, how are we going to do this? As John explains, there is an opening that I found earlier today. I noticed it was a fairly large one, so we could all fit through it. As his brother comes back, we all slowly exit the door from the back, not disturbing their parents. As we head towards the building, I felt uneasy, like something was still watching me or following us. I shrugged it off, thinking it was just paranoia. As we entered the building, we noticed it was really, really dark, and of course, that's how it is with something like this. Anyways, all of us turn on our flashlights and start to look around. Out of nowhere, we heard a strange noise, like something crying. As we try to follow it cautiously, we end up right next to a toy. Huh. What is this doing here? I mean, this place was abandoned, so it could have been here for ages. But this looks fairly new. Everyone stared at it as John's brother picked it up. Out of nowhere, the noise stopped from the toy. We sit there in silence. Some of us afraid, some of us wondering why we're still here. As John's brother puts the doll down, we continue to move on. As soon as we get further into the station, we are wondering what happened. What really happened? Why was this place abandoned? How did it come to be abandoned? And what horrible things happened here? Okay, at this point, we all needed to find some way to explore the whole place, but not to go alone. So we decided to go in groups. I go with John, and his brother goes with Jack. As we separate, I noticed something moved out of the shadows. I shrugged it off as something like a rat that was lurking around here. But it made me very curious. Is something still following us? I continued on with John. As we notice something out of the ordinary in the shadows, we go closer to it. We notice it's some kind of ink. We followed it to a room full of papers. This must be the script room, John said. Yeah, but why is there a trail of ink leading towards it? I don't know. I'm not gonna question it though. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, we hear a voice. A small child's voice, to be exact. Saying, "What are you doing here?" As we sit there in fear of what we just heard. Get out as soon as you can. As we start to listen to the voice, another one came out of nowhere and saying, "Don't go. stay with us. At that moment, we started running for our lives. Suddenly, I heard something chasing us. We are running in panic now, running for our dear lives like it literally depended on it. All of a sudden, I found a closet, and I decided to hide in it. My friend kept running, didn't even notice me hiding there. As soon as I sat there for a while, I knew that if I would have stayed here, I would have been completely caught and cornered. So I noticed that there were a lot of clothes lying around on the floor. I crawled into all the clothes and sat there motionlessly. At this moment, the doors opened. Something was in front of the closet, looking, searching for me. I sit there crying silently, hoping whatever was in front of the closet door would go away and lose interest. Thankfully, whatever was in front of the door left. I sit there for a couple more hours, motionless, hiding for my life in fear of what was chasing us. What felt like 2 hours became a whole 5. I slowly move, but to my fear, something heard me, and I ran. I ran as fast as I can. Then, the horrifying thing is, I saw what was chasing me. It was a Teletubby, some kind of person in a suit, I'm assuming. But it was scary. There's blood all over the suit. So I ran and ran, not looking back after what I just saw. I decided to hide one more time, for I knew that I could not outrun whatever was chasing me. All of a sudden, I found another closet and I decided to hide in it. Same one as the other one. I decided to hide in the clothes. Man, there were a lot of clothes in this building. It makes me wonder, where did all these clothes come from and what were they used for? I didn't question it. I just hid in them. But sadly, I was caught. For what was chasing me knew where I was and grabbed me. I was terrified. Knowing to see something this horrific, up close and personal, knocked me out. And as I awake later, I noticed I'm chained to a wall. To my surprise, my friends and John's brother were there too, hanging. I quietly yell out to them. No response. At this point, I'm really afraid. I'm terrified, in fact. As I hear the door open, to my horror, I see a Teletubby, or I'm assuming it's a man in a costume. But scary enough, it wasn't even a man. It was an actual Teletubby. And to my horror, I saw a machine full of red, oozing blood. It made me wonder, what's going to happen? Am I going to die here? All these ideas running through my head as I start to panic. The Teletubby that was in front of me was purple. And in my mind, I know who it was. It was Tinky Winky. Knowing that Tinky Winky was behind all of this makes me wonder, where are the rest of them? as we see him scrambling around the area, looking for something, I hear something wire up and turn on. I wondered what it was, and as I look around, I noticed it was the machine, the blood-filled machine. And then I noticed one of my friends being hung over it, and then they just dropped him right into the machine. Horrific screams filled my ears. I couldn't bear it anymore. I was afraid that I knew I was going to die. So I struggled, and I struggled, but it was pointless. As I look around for a way to escape, all there was the door. Tinky Winky entered. Then, out of nowhere, I saw the machine producing purple, yet gelatin-like substance from the machine. And to my mind, thinking it was some kind of food substance, my friend became Tubby Custurd. Now knowing what Tubby Custurd is, I feared for my life. I knew I couldn't save my friends. I had to find some way to save myself. So I devised a plan to escape. I noticed I was in reach of the floor, and I decided to scrounge around the floor to see if I can get something to break the lock. As I do, I find something strong enough to be able to break the chains so I could escape. But I needed to wait. I needed to wait for the right moment. Out of nowhere, I hear another Teletubby calling Tinky Winky's name. I noticed it was another Teletubby, but this one was green. I had forgotten the name, but I knew this one was with Tinky Winky. And then another Teletubby. This one, I still remembered the name. Lala. This one was red. I think it was the name of that. Lala. I didn't bother with it because I knew if I didn't get out of here, I would die. As I waited for the opportunity, I saw it, and I took it. I broke the chains, and I got out of there. Running for my life, I see another Tubby Custurd on the floor, knowing it was my friends or some other helpless victim. I keep running and running, and I found another place besides a closet to hide. And I sit there, hiding, for I knew if I hid in another closet, they would surely find me. I sit there waiting. Then I noticed I don't know, it was something smaller, but yet it was a Teletubby. I sit there crying silently. This one didn't try to take me out. It spoke to me quietly, wondering what this Teletubby wanted me to do. I couldn't comprehend. It was telling me in a childlike voice, "If you want to get out, I can take you. I know the way to the exit." As I sit there for a few more minutes, the Teletubby says again, "Hurry, we don't have much time. I can take you to the exit if you want me to, so you don't have to suffer the fate your friends are." I slowly get up and agree to this Tubby. I couldn't figure out what was going on, nor did I want to. As the Teletubby helped me escape, I heard a loud, rough voice calling the Teletubby's name. Poe? I know you're trying to help them. This is your last time helping anyone. As we both run towards the exit, the Teletubby pushes me out, and I hear a horrific scream. I noticed it was daytime, and I see what looked like to be my dad looking around for something. As I stand up slowly, my legs started to wobble. I couldn't stand very well. I was nauseous, confused. As he came over, he wondered who I was, but then looked at my face and immediately knew I was his son. We sat there, holding each other in our arms. I told him that I'm sorry that I went in there. He didn't even care. All he did was hold me, and he never let go for a long time. I asked him, why is it daytime? And he tells me a horrific thing. You've been gone for 10 years. 10 years? How does it feel like 10 years? It just felt like a few hours I was in that building. Wondering and confused that I've been gone for 10 years. My dad says, yes, you've been gone for 10 years. I've been searching around this place for a long time. I never went in because I knew what would happen if I did. So that warning you told me, you knew exactly what happened, didn't you? And you didn't tell us? Yes, for your safety I did not tell you. Because I knew how much you and your friends wanted to go to that building, but I didn't want you to. So I had to do something. That's why I told you that something horrible happened there. But you didn't heed my warning. And now, here we are 10 years later. I was very confused. I didn't know what to do. All of this came to a shock to me because my father knew what was going on, and yet he didn't tell me. It was all so confusing and new to me. All I could do was just look at the building, and to my surprise, I saw the exact same figure that was standing outside my friend's window that night. The same figure. As I looked closer, I noticed it was purple, and I became very afraid. As I tell my dad, let's get out of here, we both run away from the building, never to return to that horrific building. Later that year, the building was torn down. My friends still inside, never to be recovered. Knowing that I had just lost all my friends, I decided to move on. I'm much older now, but I always feel that something is watching me, and that feeling will never, ever go away. Now knowing the horrific truth of what really goes in Tubby Custurd.